What did a man who'd been to prison, bitten the head off a bat, and created an entire genre of music have in common with a lovable, bumbling father on reality TV? The answer lay in the unbelievable life of Ozzy Osbourne. This was the story of how the Prince of Darkness became a pop culture king, a journey of shocking extremes that forever changed both music and celebrity. For over 5 decades, Ozzy Osbourne was a fixture of our cultural landscape. He was the man whose haunting wail gave voice to the birth of heavy metal, the wild man whose onstage antics became the stuff of legend, and the befuddled patriarch who invited the world into his chaotic home. His life was a frantic symphony of darkness and light, of monumental success and devastating tragedy. To understand Ozzy was to understand the evolution of rock and roll itself, and the strange, unpredictable nature of modern fame. He passed away on July 22, 2025, at the age of 76. Long before the private jets and sold-out stadiums, there was John Michael Osborne, a working-class kid from Aston, a grim, post-war suburb of Birmingham, England. Born in 1948 into a family with 6 children, life was a constant struggle. Young Ozzy was plagued by learning disabilities, including dyslexia, which made school a nightmare and left him feeling like an outcast. He found his escape not in books, but in music, captivated by the sounds of the Beatles. His path, however, was far from straightforward. He left school at 16 and bounced between low-wage jobs, from a slaughterhouse to a car factory horn tuner. Trouble was never far away. A failed attempt at burglary landed him a 6-week stint in Winson Green Prison, an experience that, by his own admission, straightened him out just enough to seek a different path. He decided to put an ad in a local music shop, Ozzy Zig Needs Gig. It was a decision that would alter the course of music history forever. In 1968, that humble ad led him to connect with 3 other musicians from his neighborhood, guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward. After a few name changes, they settled on Black Sabbath, inspired by a Boris Karloff horror film. It was a perfect fit. They wanted their music to sound like a horror movie, dark, menacing, and utterly different from the peace and love psychedelic rock dominating the era. With Tony Iommi's groundbreaking detuned guitar riffs, a sound born from an industrial accident that severed the tips of his fingers, Geezer Butler's doom-laden lyrics, and Ozzy's eerie, desperate vocals, they created something entirely new. Their 1970 self-titled debut album, Black Sabbath, is widely considered the first true heavy metal album. It was music for the disaffected, a soundtrack for a generation staring into an uncertain future. That same year, they released Paranoid, an album that produced some of the genre's most iconic anthems, including Iron Man, War Pigs, and the title track.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses.
Black Sabbath wasn't just a band, they were a phenomenon, setting the template for heavy metal with their sound, imagery, and themes. But as their fame skyrocketed, so did the excess. The band's creativity was fueled by a torrent of drugs and alcohol, and Ozzy's substance abuse grew increasingly erratic. In 1979, after years of tension, the band made a decision that could have ended his career. They fired him. Cast out from the band he co-founded, Ozzy spiraled into a deep depression, holed up in a hotel room with a seemingly endless supply of drugs. He was saved by an unlikely force, Sharon Arden, the daughter of Black Sabbath's manager. She saw the star power that still existed beneath the chaos and took him on as a client, eventually becoming his wife and the architect of one of the greatest comebacks in rock history. She pushed him to form a new band, and he struck gold with a virtuosic young guitarist named Randy Rhoads. The result was his 1980 solo debut, Blizzard of Oz. It was a masterpiece, a bolt of lightning that blended stunning musicianship with Ozzy's signature wail on tracks like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley. The album was a massive commercial success, proving Ozzy was not just a product of Black Sabbath, but a formidable artist in his own right. His early solo albums were hugely successful, with many achieving multi-platinum status in the United States. It was during this era that his reputation as the madman of rock was forged. At a record label meeting, a drunk Ozzy bit the head off a dove. Later, during a concert, a fan threw a bat on stage. Thinking it was rubber, Ozzy bit its head off too, only to be rushed to the hospital for rabies shots afterward. These incidents became legendary, cementing his image as the ultimate rock and roll wild man. But the triumphant highs of his solo career were shattered by unimaginable tragedy. In 1982, while on tour, the small plane carrying 25-year-old Randy Rhoads crashed, killing him instantly. The loss of his friend and collaborator devastated Ozzy, a grief that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Yet he pushed forward, continuing to release music and tour, a testament to a resilience that was becoming as legendary as his antics. By the mid-1990s, Ozzy was an established icon, but the music landscape was changing, and many mainstream festivals were hesitant to book heavy metal acts. Once again, it was Sharon Osbourne who saw an opportunity. In 1996, she founded Ozzfest, a touring festival headlined by Ozzy that put heavy metal and hard rock front and center. Ozzfest was more than just a tour, it was a cultural institution. It became a crucial launching pad for a new generation of metal bands, helping to propel groups like Slipknot, System of a Down, and Limp Bizkit to stardom. It kept heavy music thriving in the mainstream and solidified Ozzy's new role. Not just a performer, but the genre's benevolent godfather, a mentor who used his platform to champion emerging artists. Just when the world thought it had Ozzy Osbourne figured out, he reinvented himself once again, this time in the most unexpected way imaginable. In 2002, MTV premiered The Osbournes, a reality show that placed cameras inside his family's Beverly Hills mansion, documenting their chaotic daily lives. The show was an instant global sensation. It won a Primetime Emmy Award and shattered ratings records for MTV, redefining the reality TV genre. It was here that the world met a completely different Ozzy. The menacing Prince of Darkness was replaced by a bewildered, mumbling father, struggling to operate a TV remote and pleading with his dogs not to defecate on the carpet. The show revealed the loving, hilarious, and often dysfunctional dynamic between Ozzy, his sharp-witted wife Sharon, and their teenage children Kelly and Jack. The show The Osbournes humanized a rock god, making him relatable and, somehow, even more beloved. It was a masterstroke that blurred the lines between public and private life, ushering in the era of celebrity-focused reality television that still dominates today. The series also showed the family's strength during difficult times, covering Sharon's battle with cancer and Ozzy's recovery from a near-fatal ATV accident, adding a layer of genuine heart to the comedic chaos. In his later years, Ozzy's life was a story of survival. He faced significant health challenges, including a public battle with Parkinson's disease, but refused to be silenced. He reunited with Black Sabbath for a final album, '13, in 2013, and a farewell tour that concluded in their hometown of Birmingham in 2017. He continued to release solo music, earning 2 Grammy Awards in 2023 for his album, Patient Number 9. His contributions were immortalized through countless awards. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, first with Black Sabbath in 2006, and again as a solo artist in 2024. He had a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and sold over 100 million albums worldwide between his solo career and his work with the band. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is twofold. Musically, he was the undisputed godfather of heavy metal, an innovator whose work with Black Sabbath and as a solo artist laid the foundation for an entire genre. Culturally, he was a pioneer of reality television, a man whose willingness to expose his private life changed the very nature of fame. If you enjoyed this look into the life of a rock legend, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from music history. And let us know in the comments, what's your favorite Ozzy Osbourne or Black Sabbath song? We'd love to hear from you.